Hi everyone, I'm the Limitless Librarian and welcome to my review of Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. I read this book as part of the Dymocks 2024 Reading Challenge for the prompt for a book written by a female author. My sister actually gave me this book for Christmas last year, and she is the one who bought me Babel for my birthday, and that ended up being my best book of last year. So, did she pick another winner this time? Well, we shall see. Tune in to find out. So, what is Lessons in Chemistry about? Well, it's set in the 1960s and we follow a chemist named Elizabeth Zott. She works as a researcher in the field of chemistry, and we follow basically her life from how she ended up at this research institute, how she did not get her PhD even though she was supposed to, how she met another researcher there and fell in love and had a child, and then also eventually how she ended up appearing on this cooking show. A major theme of this book is sexism and how women have to really fight for their rights and are discriminated against back then, as we see throughout the book numerous examples of Elizabeth being discriminated against or presumed to be less skilled or have stereotypical gender roles forced upon her in certain ways. People making presumptions about her and what she is like and what she is good at and what she can and can't do. It's prevalent throughout the entire book, albeit, in my opinion, even as a woman, it's a bit heavy-handed. It's a little bit over the top. But then again, I wasn't around in the 60s, so I don't know, maybe it really was that common that back then, really that much of a prevalent issue back then. But Elizabeth is not the sort of person who just lets things slide. She will fight at every turn, and she is really stubborn about it and will do anything and everything to make her point. So, what are my thoughts? I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the premise and the plot, although I did kind of struggle through it a bit. It was a bit slow. I did read it a bit slowly. I did struggle with it a bit, and I'm not quite entirely sure why. I think the characters were fine. I don't mind Elizabeth Zott or any of the other characters, and I really liked the plot and how it tied things up. There are no loose ends. There are things that were set up early on that paid off later. I also really enjoyed her cooking show, even though I really do not like cooking. She found a way to work chemistry into it and made it focus on chemistry, not really caring about any sort of script or what the TV people thought would be best. However, there were some issues with the book. First of all, the whole point of Elizabeth dealing with discrimination and being angry about it, and anyone and everyone at every turn having issues with women, was, as I said, a bit heavy-handed. It really bashed you over the head with the message, and it was the focus of pretty much any and every conflict in the book, to the point that even as a woman it got a little tired. And it also felt a little bit unrealistic that every single man, it seemed, was out to get her or not value her. Again, I get that this was, 6 decades ago, so things have definitely improved on this front by now, but reading it, even so, was a bit much. And the book would have been a bit more interesting if there were more conflicts that were not caused by that, at least not primarily. One example of where I think this all men think women are less than thing caused an issue with the book is with the producer of her TV show, who, it is said in the book, it is said that they essentially become like best buddies. However, what we are shown is that he doesn't seem to make much progress in the way of listening to her or accepting her way of doing things. Now, to be fair, Elizabeth does have the philosophy of doing things first and asking for forgiveness later, but the way their friendship is described, the way that we are led to believe or told to believe that, as I said, they're best buddies, you'd think that the producer would listen to her more and learn to trust in her process more, especially as the success of her TV show becomes apparent. But he just doesn't really make much progress on that front. He's always getting annoyed with her for every stunt that she pulls where she deviates from the script. We are not really shown much of their supposed close friendship. We are only told about it, and this lack of progress, this lack of trust, this lack of progress in listening to her with the show really seems to prove otherwise. It undermines that closeness that we are told they have. And unfortunately, it doesn't really seem to get resolved, in my opinion. Another issue I had with this book is that the way things play out is somewhat unrealistic. I get that this is a fiction book, a fictional story, and it's supposed to be empowering, but it doesn't really feel as empowering as it should do if I can't believe that Elizabeth's actions would have the consequences, the impact that they would have. For example, sure, I can believe that Elizabeth's cooking show would be really popular with women in the 60s, but I don't know that they would be spouting chemistry facts and names on the streets as a result of it like they do in the books. I don't really think it would have that much of an impact. It might inspire a few of them, but not the entire audience. I just can't believe that they'll be sitting in front of their TVs with their notebooks studying chemistry and buying textbooks and, again, just spouting chemical formulas in casual conversation as a result of the TV show in parts of their normal daily lives as a result. Also, again, the vilification of every single man that she comes to contact with, or at least the implication that there was no such thing as a man who would see her as an equal without having to learn that lesson the hard way at Elizabeth's hands, is a bit unrealistic. Even back then, I'm pretty sure not all men were out to get her. And again, I think it undermines the book's message and the empowerment that it was going for if we have to make these men into bad guys in order to give Elizabeth something to fight. Some of them seemed almost cartoonishly evil, to the point being, again, unbelievable. While I do believe there are certainly men who would have done some of the things that the men that Elizabeth has to deal with did, the fights that she has, her battles, don't feel real because her adversaries don't feel real. These don't feel like real encounters that we could have and thus could beat, if that makes sense. There's also this dog that Elizabeth has that is a major character in the book because it acts and is shown to think like a human, and I don't know how to feel about that. Again, unrealistic, and it feels like a bit of a it's definitely used as a plot device. There are certain things in the plot that just wouldn't have worked if the dog hadn't been able to do these unlikely things that it's able to do. So it feels like a bit of a fantastical plot device. Elizabeth's daughter Madeline is also unusually intelligent and outspoken and very much like her mother, but she reads complicated books and knows complicated things, memorizes things. But savant syndrome is a thing, so that doesn't bother me as much as all of the other unrealistic things in the book. But combined with them, it does add to that sense of unbelievability that this book has, which undermines its message and the impact that it was going for. So in summary, I did enjoy the book. I liked the plot and the characters, and I enjoyed the cooking show and the premise in general. But if you are looking for the quintessential STEMinist story that delivers these messages and themes in a way that is powerful, meaningful, realistic, and thus empowering in general, this is not it. It's unbelievable as a story, as a series of events, as a portrayal of men and women and the conflicts between them. It's just not realistic. It's not believable. So even as a work of fiction, I think it should be treated as just that, just another fictional story, not as an effective, true-to-life springboard for these kind of discussions of equal rights and women in STEM. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video and you'd like to see more book reviews, please like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, do lots of maths, read lots of books, and you are scientifically proven to have an awesome day.